Okay, let's test potholder batting. It's nice to be back. I'm going to try to make a few videos this spring, and then we'll see what happens. Today I want to talk about potholder batting. I've only ever used one brand of batting, and it's not because I get anything from them for using it. It's because it was available to me. I could buy large or small quantities and get a decent discount with my coupon, and the potholders turned out great, and I never moved past that. It's like the enchilada the spinach enchilada they used to have at one of the local Mexican restaurants. I never tried anything else. I liked it so much. So this is Warm and Natural. It's made by the Warm Company. I've always used it, and I've had great results. And it looks like this off the roll. And I put 2 layers of that in every potholder on the outsides of a piece of this Insul-Bright, also by the Warm Company. And this is the inside of a sandwich to make a potholder or an oven mitt, the way that I do it. And it looks like this. It's got white fuzz on both sides and this mylar-like layer, and either way it works to reflect hot or cold back to the source, whichever side you're on. And it doesn't matter which way you put it in your quilt sandwich. Your potholder is going to work both ways, and your oven mitt is going to work just fine. All areas should be equally protected. So recently I went to buy batting, and what I found is the Warm Company is no longer available through the local chain store where I was buying my batting, and for well over a decade, close to 2 decades, and so with some hiatuses. This is what they have now, which is Pellon Insulated Fleece, and it has the metal looking area and the needle punching and then the white fuzz on one side. And this basically explains that this is a one-sided product and you have to layer it properly. I bought a yard and was just going to find a way to relayer the potholders and make them and try to deal with the one-sided issue, but I read some reviews of the product, and someone said that when they really heat it up with their iron, it shrinks quite a bit. And I wanted to test that. It even says right here, do not iron directly onto the aluminized polyethylene. The other thing that's available that's not Warm Company right now at the same store where I've been going is this natural cotton batting. And we're going to test this too, although I have no reason to doubt that this isn't just a great product. I just haven't used it. You know, when you've used something for so long and it's been good, sometimes you just don't want to change things. It doesn't mean this isn't a wonderful product. So what I have here are my 4 test squares, and they're 10 by 10. That way we can estimate shrinkage, because we'll wash these by approximate percentages when we measure it again. And so this is my natural cotton batting that I've never really used. This is the insul-fleece that I've also never used. Warm and Natural Insul-Bright that I've used for 2 decades. So I've got my iron heated up, and what I've done is I'm placing the right hand corner and the right hand corner up against each other. I'm just going to use this piece of fabric to be a protective layer, and what I'm going to do, alright, so I'm going to set my iron on and I'm going to time 1 minute. This is a good time to let you know that I really appreciate all your support, you guys. I love seeing your projects. I love hearing about your various adventures. I just love hearing that stuff. I know some of you are not as interested in what I'm doing as others, but for some of you I think it's been important, and that's awesome, and thanks for your support. If I knew how to use my phone. Okay, so I've ironed these both for 1 minute, and it appears to me that this one may even have been discolored a little, and that is the warm and natural. It's on this end, and it may have changed a tiny bit in texture. And this one looks like it's exactly the way it was before. So that's our first test. And if anything, the natural cotton batting may have fared a tiny bit better. Okay, so we're going to do our 1 minute timer again. So let's see if I can simultaneously do this. And we're steaming. Another thing is I'm still trying to figure out what kind of videos to do this spring, and I'll save some ideas for in the fall when I'd like to do some more videos. I really want to sell during the summer months, and I'll focus on that. But if I can do videos in the spring and in the fall without it interfering with any Christmas sales, that would be something that would work really well for me. And see, this is what the woman who had trouble with this in her comment was talking about, that it shrinks up, and I think this one didn't change. We can slap a measure on there. Let's see. The Insul-Bright looks to me to still be pretty much 10 inches across. And this one has lost some. And if you lose that much, a 1/4 inch in a little more than a couple inches, I think it's possible that over this whole, that'd be another 1/4, another 1/4, another 1/4, you're gonna lose more than an inch if your pot holder or your other piece got too much heat. And because this is also one-sided and required me to replan what I was doing, and can you see this through the, you see that, the way that that looks now? I'm not sure what that would do in a finished pot holder. But so what I've done for myself, and I know that you guys, most of you could not do this unless you were crazy like Zazu, is I bought 40 yards of 90-inch wide warm and natural and 35 yards of 45-inch Insul-Bright. So that's enough to make 700 pot holders and a bunch of just regular wall pieces too. And but I'm sticking with the tried and true. So it's the next day, and I've gone ahead and washed these 4 pieces by hand and then dried them until they were completely dried. And I have my measure on here to kind of show what it looks like. But basically, I don't see anything here that I'm concerned about other than the heat shrinking. These pieces are, I think they've changed a little. It may be that they change more in one direction than another, but inside of your quilted piece, along with the other batting, I think these are gonna behave in a way that is attractive, which is of course our main concern. Let me see. Both cotton battings are supposed to shrink 3 to 5%, which looks to me like about what they've done. The natural cotton batting may not be quite as square as the warm and natural. The warm and natural may have sort of reverted back to its original texture, and maybe there's still a slight variation in color from the iron. My main concern, well, since I bought 40 yards of this that's 90 inches wide, I'm not concerned. But this is a little bit softer, and I'm sure it would look lovely inside of a quilt where you wanted to have some shrinkage and have it look nice. My concern is that when I make my quilt sandwich and I'm quilting, this is relatively stiff and I don't have a ton of this, my pot holders, I cut it 9x9. I don't have a ton of movement when I'm trying to free motion quilt this, and I no longer baste my outside edges. I used to do that. And so to control puckers and things, this slightly stiffer batting might behave better than the natural cotton batting, but I've never used it and I bet it would be just fine. You might have to get used to slowing down a little more on corners or wherever. You might pick up a pucker if you're not careful. Thanks. Remember that a lot of the things I make, I put batting inside and I heat set, and that'll mean, depending on whether it's ink or paint, 30 seconds or a whole minute of heat right above the layer. And that could happen on something insulated where it's a tea cozy or some other, like a table topper where you want it to have a little heat protectiveness, but you've really done up the look of the piece to make it decorative.